Hello, my name is Derek, and tonight I'm going to be showing you a few things that you might not have known about a dairy goat. We're going to be covering 3 separate topics: milking and sanitation, feeding, and then processing of the milk. I grew up raising and showing dairy goats, so tonight I'm going to be giving you a little bit of insight of what goes on in the day-to-day operations of taking care of one of these animals. A few things that you will need in order for milking the goat is you're going to start with some feed. You're going to need udder wash mixed with some water and a clean rag, a stainless steel milk pail, and then some teat spray. So first off, what you're going to do is you're going to grab your feed. We are feeding a high protein pellet mixture, and you're going to put that in front of the goat before you start milking. We do this for multiple reasons. The first is just as a distraction for the goat, so that way they don't move around as much when you are trying to milk them. The second is with this high protein diet, this allows for extra milk production and lactation of these goats. And for us, the main purpose of our goats is for showing, so they get judged based on their udder quality as well as how much the capacity of how much their udder can hold. So the next step, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab your rag with some udder wash, and then you're just going to want to wash down their udder as well as their teats. This just is to disinfect it, so that way there's no dirt or anything on them. So that way nothing gets in the milk as you are milking them. So after that, you're going to want to grab your milk pail, set it underneath them, so that way you have some place to put the milk. As you can see, these goats have shaved udders. This is for multiple reasons, just so that they look good in the show ring, but the most important is so that way they do not collect dirt or anything that can fall into the milk as you are milking them. So after you have the milk pail underneath them, so now that we have our milk pail underneath the goat, it's time to start milking. So first thing you're going to want to do is, once you put your hand around the teat, you're going to want to squeeze and pull at the same time, going from top to bottom with your fingers like this. So it should look something like this. And then after each time, you want to kind of release from your palm, so that way the milk refills from the udder into the teat. The purpose of doing that is it allows milk to go from the udder into the teat so you can keep milking. So now that is the gist of it. I'm going to have my sister come in and do it both hands to show how effective you can be at milking a goat with just your hands.
Hey guys, I'm Derek's sister, so I'm going to give you a little bit closer view of what it's like to effectively two-hand milk. So once you get a little bit better at it, you're going to be able to milk a little bit faster. And then once you can see, she's getting a little dry here. There's not as much milk coming out. So something that you want to do, especially in your showgirls, is you're going to want to massage the udder. You're going to want to be able to get all of the milk from up in her mammary tissue to drop down so we can get all the milk out, which kind of signals in her body to produce more milk because she's now empty. And this is an effective way to make sure that they're producing a lot. So, you're just going to want to massage, maybe wait a couple minutes, and then come back and finish milking. So as you can see, she's a little bit not as full as she was in the beginning. So you can see that she is just about empty. So I'm going to massage her, come back, and then milk her out completely. And then Derek will talk about teat cleaning.
So the last step what you're going to want to do after you're done milking a goat is using a teat disinfectant or a teat dip. In this case, we are using a Fight Back, which is a teat spray, or if you have iodine teat dip, you can use that. So in order to apply this, what you're going to want to do is kind of go at an angle and then spray so it covers underneath like teat where the milk comes out on all sides. The reason that you want to do this is this prevents bacteria from entering the teat and going into the mammary glands, which can cause mastitis, which is the inflammation of a mammary tissue, and that can basically make like milk production decrease or permanently stop if it gets that bad. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go and show you how to properly process the milk after you're done milking your dairy goat. So now that we are done milking, it is time to begin the processing of the milk. The items you're going to need are obviously your milk that you gathered, a strainer, a milk grade filter, some containers that can sustain high heat. Today we're going to be using mason jars since we don't have a whole lot of milk. Another container to put these mason jars or whatever you are using in, and then a heat source to warm up the water that is put in here, as well as for the milk for it to be pasteurized. You can either use a stove and monitor the temperature, we are using a Nova Precision cooker that will be set at 165 because that is the temperature you're going to need to get for the milk to be pasteurized. The pasteurization process is important because it kills the bacteria and other pathogens that are in milk that we do not want to consume. And since we are feeding this milk to our baby goats, we don't want any of those pathogens or bacteria for them to consume, for them to possibly get sick or anything. So what you're first gonna want to do is you're gonna want to put your filter into your strainer. I already have one in here. And then you're gonna want to take one of your mason jars, we use our sink, that way if we spill any, it doesn't make a mess. And put the strainer in the mason jar, and then take your milk, and then carefully pour some of it in there. And then you're also gonna want to watch it so it doesn't overflow in the mason jar. The reason you want to strain the milk is to get any of the dirt or hay or anything else that may have fallen into the milk during milking to get cleaned out so it doesn't stay in the milk. Since we hand milk, it is easier for dirt and hay to get into here, and so we want to just make sure that everything is taken out. All right, so after you fill up your containers, what you're going to want to do is put your lid on there. For us, the mason jars, you want to put the lid on there and secure it closed, and then after you have all these filled, you're gonna want to end up putting it in to your heat source and then turn it on. And once it gets up to the temperature, for normal pasteurization for human consumption, you want to leave it in there for about 30 seconds to preserve the taste. But since we are feeding it to our baby goats, it doesn't necessarily matter how long we put it in there for. Thank you for taking your time for this demonstration. I hope that you learned something, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.